Man, oh man, who would have thought that I'd be doing a review on Bleach, manga that, God, when did it end? Maybe like 5 years ago? Gosh, I really can't remember. I'm just thinking of it now. But for Bleach to be returning, for Kubo to be back in form after his other one shot that I'm blanking on the name actually. Oh my god. You know what? Screw it. Let me look it up. Uh, Burn the Witch. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot the name. But yeah, after doing his one shot Burn the Witch and the success it had with the movie, right? For him to come back and do this revamp of Bleach. Um and not even a more than just a revamp, it's a continuation of the series. And I think I think it's just good. A lot of people think it's good to have Bleach back, and I would agree. You know, I've really missed Bleach. I've missed the art. I've really gone back and watched like reactors, kind of watching Bleach, and realized, Bleach had a lot of interesting, unique, cool characters. It had its great arcs. It had some bad arcs, but it had its moments, and it's just good to see, one of the big three back. And to be honest with you, this Bleach special one shot was pretty good. And the concept of this Hell arc that's coming up is pretty interesting. Um, and, I want to go over a few points in the chapter, but I feel like I just want to kind of discuss the different things that have happened here. I don't really want to go page by page and break this down because it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, we got, Ichigo and Urahime's kid. Good to see Urahime again. But we got Kazui. He's doing, delinquent things. He's going out at night. He's joined with Cone. And he's like, he met up with this guy that's, I guess, apparently 13, but he looks a lot older. Um, right. And he's basically helping him out and saying, I know you're gonna be lonely, but I'm gonna take you to a place where you won't be lonely, right? And Kazui basically does the whole ritual to, um, basically, and from what it looks like the Soul Society doors. Um, so yeah, that's what it's looking like. And then this is kind of how it starts, and then we get into Soul Society, and we meet Ichika. We see Ibiki. Um, he's still bald, but it looks like he's training Ichika, and this is when we slowly start to get some of their introductions back in the show, or not in the show, in the manga. And it looks like Ichika and Kazui, they hang out. They know each other. They're fond of each other. And this is where we slowly start to see some of our returning characters. We get Renji and Ichigo talking, right? They start, talking about this whole Soul Funeral Festival, which I want to focus on this, right? So this Soul Funeral Festival is for captains that are deceased, and this one is for Yukitake, Captain Yukitake. And basically what they do is they kill a hollow and as a sacrifice in the funeral for this soul funeral festival. And basically Renji is inviting Ichigo, since even though he is an outsider, he knew Yukitake personally, and he's more than just an outsider. He's been with Soul Society, been interacting with everybody, for the longest since the series started. So he gets invited to the funeral. And, we also get some returning characters. And, man, it's been so long since I've read Bleach that I forgot about Keigo. Like Keigo was one of Ichigo's friends in the very beginning. And, he was seen a little bit in the Karakura Town arc as well. But it's really good to see some returning old characters from, like, way, way back. And everybody, everyone's doing good. And then we get, and I gotta mention this, Rukia. She looks great. She really looks great. And I gotta say, man, Tite Kubo's art still holds up. I'm, I'm, I'm. Sometimes I forget how good his art is. He's so good. Rukia looks wonderful in this panel. Renji looks great. Ichigo looks great. Like everybody looks great. And it really just goes to highlight that whatever, when Bleach ended, right? It had its issues. Tite was having issues with people at Shueisha, and there was, a lot of things that had this ending of Bleach rushed. And he took a long break for his health after, this ended, and he was able to make Burn the Witch and then come back with this. And I gotta say, I think he made the right move. But yeah, we see Rukia, and they're talking about like the new technology throughout the Soul Society that Yudohara's been adding. So like cell phones, and Rukia's talking about watching TV. And then, kind of to skip forward because I want to get to something really important. But yeah, Captain Kurotsuchi basically tells all the vice captains that, hey, you got to get out there. You got to go capture a hollow for this Soul Funeral Festival, right? And we get introduced to a pretty cool character, Rendo, from Iba's division. Iba's now a captain, and Iba used to be the vice captain of Komomaru, Mr. Fox himself. And he doesn't talk, but he knows sign language, and he can also read lips. He's a vice captain. Cool design, interesting character, especially seeing his powers. But we'll get to that in a sec. We get Hitsugaya, Rangiku. Good to see them. Honestly, really good to see them. We also then finally we get a reunion. Well, at least for us, we get to see them kind of all together. Renji, Ichigo, Rangiku. And then, we get introduced to Rendo, or Ichigo gets introduced to Rendo and, what's her name? Yayahara, who's doing that, what's it called? That Gyaru stuff, which is where they kind of tan their skin, Japanese women. Not the biggest fan of that, because sometimes I feel like it's weird when they go overboard with that tanning stuff, but yeah. And she is the vice captain of Yadomaru, and Yadomaru, if we remember, was one of the visors. She was the chick with the sword. Well, everyone had a sword, but she was the girl with the spear that got bodied by Aiza. That's the first thing I remember when thinking about her. But she's a captain now, which is pretty cool, right? And then we get to the meat of this. First off, let me just say these Hell Hollow designs, crazy, really crazy. And honestly, we get the classic. Here's one thing I just love about Kubo, man. His blank backgrounds, and then you just get like really amazing art. And you see the skeleton hollow, and they don't sense it, right? They don't sense it at all. And I'm like, okay. Because I thought they were going to like block it or something like that when it attacked. But no, Renji gets hit. And we find out that, oh, these guys don't have any Ryatsu. No one noticed them. Right? And we see one of the vice captains get stabbed. I actually don't know who that is. I am blanking. Gosh, I really don't know who that is. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you know the vice captain that got stabbed by one of these hollows. But basically, yeah, so they've got no Ryatsu at all, and it's a tricky situation. And then we see Rendo get into action, and it looks like he's basically spelling out on his sword, which I want to highlight this because this is cool. His Shikai release, which is called Give Birth, and then you see these paper birds transform into actual birds. And he kind of points, and they all go to one of the hollows, and they shred it. And here's an interesting thing, right? So the holes that hollows that aren't from hell have, they're not on their chest anymore. They're like outside of the body. So that's why you have like the ring kind of, the whole ring kind of like outside of these hollows, like it's like on their head or on their back and stuff like that. It's really interesting. Then we see Yayahara. She's kind of got these kind of kung fu moves, and she does this like move representing a bear, and she just crushes or takes off the head of one of these hollow, right? And proceeds to crush. And then we get other displays of power here, and we get Kira popping up too as well. Good to see Kira. Man, I really, it's really good to have Bleach back, because I'm gonna be honest, man, if we get Bleach in a serialization along with JJK, My Hero Academia, One Piece, like, Shonen Jump is just getting spicier and spicier by the moment, man. I really gotta say. So I really sorry if I'm jumping around, guys, but like I said, I kind of just wanted to have a discussion on this, because for a lot of us, Bleach is just, it's been a staple in our anime and manga like community. Like, it's always been considered one of the big three, so it's just good to see it back. And then we get, and I had to look this guy up, right? Because he comes out of the ground, and it is, I'll call him Poro, and I believe his first name was Grants, but he's the 8th Espada, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, are we getting a Espada return? But no, he's one of the people that came from hell, right? And he basically explains to Renji, I've fallen from hell. You know, hell is this nice place. You are unleashed from the yoke of a hollow, and your whole is moved outside of your body. Both hatred and pain, like tears, flow outside of your brain. Right? Interesting. And this is where this is where the plot kind of thickens, right? So he basically goes to attack Renji. Ichigo blocks his attack, and basically tells Renji to get out of there, get Ichigo to safety. Right? And then we get these will-o-wisps, which looks like blood kind of falling from the sky. But we get we start to get an explanation, right? And so we basically get Kiraku explaining this whole ordeal and this superstition that he heard a long time ago, right? And he talks about the concept of Rei, which is like basically like the spiritual authority, and Rei is a unit of measurement used to measure Ryatsu, which is spiritual pressure, and Ryatsu resides in Reishi, right? So division members have this low grade of 20 for Reishi, which is pretty low. Vice captains have 5 and 4, which is pretty high, and then captains have consistently grade 3 or higher, which is extremely high, right? And soul reapers are made up of Reishi, so when they die, they basically return to the earth of Soul Society as Reishi, right? So their spirit becomes Reishi, the stuff that is around Soul Society. But for captains have such high Reishi, right, that they're actually not able to basically dissipate into the Earth of Soul Society as Reishi, because their Ryatsu is too high, their Rei is too high, right? So this whole ritual is man, this is pretty interesting. This whole ritual is basically to send them to hell. And Kiraku kind of realizes this as everything is happening. And, you know, he didn't believe it, but now that this is happening, he's like, you know what? Maybe this superstition is true. And then Poro here, our 8th Espada member, talks about how, you know, this tremendous Ryatsu that was keeping the mouth of hell in check. Aizen and Sosuke disappeared. Right after, Yuha Bak vanished. You guys sent tremendous Ryatsu down to hell, one after another, allowing the mouth of hell to force open from hell's side. So, and then he goes on to talk about Yamamoto Kino Yosai, the death of Yurahana, and he said, and today, and then the sword comes out of nowhere. And then he said, you made an early arrival, and somebody says divine vow. But he says, you've made an early arrival, Yukitake Jushiro. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And he said, it's finished. You guys just slaughtered those ghouls from hell right in front of Yukitake Jushiro. Now I will return, and you guys should think properly. Hell has always been nearby. There's no way you haven't noticed. You haven't ever wondered why the butterflies got that why the butterflies that got soul reapers have hell in their name, right? So I'm thinking that the ritual finished based off of what he said because they killed those ghouls in front of Yukitake. And I think Yukitake stopped him from doing any more damage because that looks like his sword that pierced him. And then he talks about how he said, you know, you made an early appearance, but he said he's gonna return anyway. So Yukitake basically made an appearance from hell and stopped Poro. You know, that's what I at least think would happen. And it's just very interesting. And the hell butterflies is also a nice touch too. But there's a lot of questions here. But this could really open up a can of worms of just returning characters. Because what's happening is hell is opening up. So that would mean like evil people they've killed. Espada, Aizen, Yuha, good people, the captains, like they could all return into this big, I don't know if they'd be good or bad. I'm assuming they'd be good, but it's just interesting to hear that they've been sent to hell, which is kind of messed up because they serve Soul Society, and if you're a captain, that's where you get sent because your ratio's too high. So it's an interesting concept, and I'd really want to see where this goes, but I definitely can see returning characters, and man, I got a few on the list that I would really love to see, but I like the concept. This was a great special one-shot, and like I said earlier, it's really good to see Tite Kubo back. And I think he's going to be doing this on his own time. I don't know. It could be a Shonen Jump Plus type of manga, or it could be weekly. Who knows? We'll find out. But again, I really want to know more. And let me know what you guys think. And sorry if this was a little all over the place, but you know, it's Bleach, man. It's finally returned, and I just want to talk Bleach in general. So thanks, guys. Like and subscribe.